Welcome back to Beyond 95. Today, we're stepping away from the hustle of the workplace and diving into the passions and pursuits that shape our guests beyond the boardroom. Let's welcome KV Dipu, Senior President, Head Operations and Customer Experience, as he steps away from his professional role to share the hobbies and interests that keeps him energized and motivated. We'll explore the personal side of his journey and discover what fuels his creativity beyond the office. Let's see what happens when work is put on pause and life takes the center stage. So thank you so much for joining us, Dipu.
Welcome, Awnesh. Thank you so much for having me here.
So let's start with, if you could relive any moment from your life outside of work, what would that be? And I'm sure you have some incredible memories that still bring a smile on your face.
Awnesh, I'll pick two. One, being a parent, obviously, any moment you want to relive outside your work life, has to do with your kids, right? So if I go back to the time, when my kids were growing up, when they had their first walk or, when, any of their first milestones, right? Those are definitely areas one would like to relive. And the other is, I go back to childhood when I was a kid, right? When we didn't have a care in the world, right? When you lived for the day, right? You were not thinking about the future, right? Absolute carefree days where you get up, you study, you play cricket, you meet your friends. So I think these are two moments, right? Either being a kid or when, you see your kids. I think those are moments, one can relive any day.
That's the exact conversation that I've been having with my daughter as well. Telling her
Okay.
this is the best time that probably you can have right now. Relax.
Right.
So I completely second that. Next, if you had a chance to swap places with any historical figure for a day, who would it be and what would you be doing that entire day? You must have some intriguing thoughts on that.
You see, Avnesh, there are so many, historical figures, who have inspired you over the years that it becomes, very difficult to pick one. But I guess if I, have to really pick one, then I'd pick, Leonardo da Vinci, because I think, he was a very versatile person. He had his, fingers in many pies. And then, we speak, we talk a lot about left brain, right brain, right? He was somebody I thought, who used both, right? He used science as well as art. So if I had a choice, to swap, a day in my life with somebody's, it would be his. And what I would do, at that time, going back to the second part of your question, is just, explore and express myself really, across the multiple areas, where, one had skills.
That's a wonderful answer, really. Here's a curious one. What's that one thing that you've always wanted to do or try but never had the chance to? Maybe something daring or totally out of the ordinary.
So I think one thing which is there, right? And of course, it gets tougher as you grow older without having done it. But from a young age, right? I think one thing which always inspired us, was to go and climb Mount Everest, right? Because we kept reading about, Tenzing and Edmund Hillary and, how they overcame multiple challenges. So that's something which motivates you. I've never tried my hand at mountaineering. So, it is one of those, items which do fall into the classic area of wanted to do, but, never went anywhere near it.
Wonderful. That's exactly one of the things that I have not done. And I've asked, a lot of my friends have actually asked me to do so. But yeah, maybe someday I will tick that box as well. So switching gears and back to work for a moment. What's the most out-of-the-box solution you've ever come up with at work? And I bet you've had some moments where innovation took center stage.
Yeah. I think, Avnesh, it has to, of course, there have been plenty of, solutions, over the years. But if I were to, pick one from recent memory, I think it would be, when COVID challenged us, because suddenly, we had to work overnight. Right. And I remember, when our call center was basically shut down because, you had people working from home and call centers cannot work with, people in a staggered, or a distributed setup.
Right.
But we said we had the capacity, right? Because people are available. So we told our customers, that while it may be, difficult for you to reach out to us because, inbound call centers are not working. But what you do is you give us a missed call and we'll call you back.
Right.
So I think we converted that inbound capacity into outbound capacity, and we were able to sail through. Similarly, when you had employees working from home, and at that time we had to engage with employees because they were not coming to office. And I remember, many of my friends across industries, struggling with, managing employee morale. So we did one thing out of the box. We said, now that we have employees working from home, why only have employees involved? So for example, if let's say you had a potluck in office, during physical days, employees would get dishes from home. We said we can now involve families. So I remember one Saturday, we had a digital potluck. It was on WhatsApp. People would post dishes, but we had people's families involved. Somebody's sister, somebody's mother, somebody's cousin, and they were so involved that our employee engagement scores actually went up with the pandemic. So just as we were able to sail through with customers, we were able to manage with our employees as well. So I think these were two very simple but out-of-the-box solutions which helped us not just survive, but actually, thrive through the entire pandemic period.
So I'm sure the out of the box was not just for your external, but for your internal stakeholders as well. And
yes,
we all know the time that we've all had. So kudos to all the efforts done by you. And to wrap it up with a bit of reflection, looking back at your career, was there a turning point or any decision that probably helped you shape your success in the tech industry? What could the young professionals learn from your experience?
I think, Awnesh, this is something, which one gets asked all the time. So to my mind, two things come, as immediate, pieces of advice for aspiring youngsters. One is, it's very easy for people today to call themselves experts, but we are living in a constantly evolving landscape.
Right.
So I think in one's own mind, one has to switch gears from being a know-it-all to being a learn-it-all.
Yeah.
If you are a constant learner, and you're reinventing yourself, then you make yourself relevant. I think that's one thing which people have to imbibe. The days of, saying that, I've done my MBA from here, I've done my engineering from here, my formal education is done and dusted, and I'm now ready for the corporate sector. Those days are gone. Today, you are learning constantly. Formal education gives you a ticket to the party, but then, your learning has to continue every day. So I think that's one, being a lifelong learner. The other, Awnesh, is, today we are, constantly bombarded by, a lot of information because we live in the age of social media and WhatsApp. Right. So there's so much information coming your way that, to figure out, what is, what really matters, right? And therefore, from one perspective, while being open to feedback, while being open to learning, but, having a handle on your essence, right? What do you stand for? What are your values? What do you really want to do? I think if people can cut through the noise and get that clarity, I think these two things, while of course, there's a lot which one can share, but I think these two aspects, if people can focus on, I think it will clearly help them, differentiate themselves from the others.
So definitely, I mean, clarity and to keep learning, that's all we want to be, and that's the, I believe that I was also discussing with someone, that's the only thing which can help you get successful in life. You cannot stop learning.
Right.
Thank you so much, Dipu. We can't thank you enough for bringing such energy and fun to today's conversation.
Thank you, Awnesh. The feeling is mutual. You made it so comfortable, that I could speak very naturally. Thank you.
It's been fascinating to see the person behind the title, and your insights remind us that there's much more to leadership than what happens in the office. To everyone watching, we're thrilled to have you on this journey with us. Beyond 9 to 5 is all about showcasing the full spectrum of what makes leaders like Dipu extraordinary, on and off the clock. Stay tuned for more stories, more laughs, and more inspiration in our upcoming episodes. Thank you.